I think this will be it.
Alright, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Colby. I'm the Admissions Advisor at Oregon State University. And if you're not familiar with what we do in admissions, essentially we are here as a resource to assist you throughout the admissions process. So if you're planning to apply, have any questions about the application, or just want to learn more about what Oregon State has to offer, we're happy to meet with you and answer any questions that you might have. I am the contact for your school, so you're always happy to contact me if you have any questions that we can meet, or chat via email or phone if you have any questions, and I do have cards, so I can do that if you would like more contact information. But two things you should have. The first is the brochure. This is what we use for the presentation, so it's yours to keep. Feel free to follow along the different panels as I go through it, take notes on it, do that as you wish. The other piece, please fill that out. That just gives us your contact information, tells us that you're going to the event today, and then I'll take it from you at the end and put your info in, and that just makes sure that we can give you updated information after our visit. So fill it out, or you can scan the QR code to your phone, and we prefer to do that, so you can fill it out on either of those. Start first on the back and just talk a little bit about general location. I know we're in pretty close proximity to our campus, but just for a general poll, has anyone been to our campus or is familiar with OSU? A couple of you. But for those that might not be familiar with our location, we're going to start here with the big orange dot. That's our Corvallis campus, obviously in Corvallis, Oregon, so not too far of a drive from here. We're pretty centrally located. We're about 45 minutes from Eugene and about an hour and a half drive to Portland, about 45 minutes to the Oregon coast, so pretty close proximity to all the major things you might want to explore from here. Again, not too far of a drive, so a good way to kind of get that sense of independence and being away from home, but still be close enough that you can make the drive if you want, or have your family and friends come visit you. Corvallis itself, though, we like to refer to as a traditional college town, so very student-centric. If you've ever been to Corvallis, you might have noticed that even off of campus, you see the Beaver stuff everywhere, whether that's like a Beaver flag flying, or orange and black colors, or someone yelling "Go Beavs" to someone on the side of the road. It's everywhere, so very supportive community for our students to be living in. A lot of the residents living in Corvallis, aside from just general community members, are alumni or staff and faculty, and they're often supporting our students at their events and research projects and whatever that might be. So very supportive, traditional college town that you're going to find in Corvallis. If we go over to the second orange dot, you would end up in Bend, Oregon, just 2.5 hours east of Corvallis, more central Oregon over the Cascade Mountain Range. You will find our OSU Cascades campus, and this is a second OSU campus that you can consider getting your degree at. We like to refer to Bend as a traditional or an outdoor hub, so lots of opportunities for outdoor recreation there. Really close proximity to Mount Bachelor, so snow-related sports, skiing, snowboarding, things like that. Smith Rock is also in relatively close proximity as well, so that's really big for like hiking and biking. And then the Deschutes River also goes right through Bend as well. So lots of things to do for outdoor recreation. That's kind of a big thing there. However, if you're not interested in being outdoors and you still like Bend and want to go over to OSU Cascades, they do also have a very vibrant art and culture scene as well. So Bend's really big for like hospitality and tourism. Lots of really neat like restaurants and like music and little shops to check out. So there are still things to do in Bend outside of outdoor recreation. And if we travel back to Corvallis and go 45 minutes west of Corvallis, you will end up at the Oregon coast. And Hatfield is our marine science center that we have there for our students. Unlike our Corvallis campus and our OSU Cascades campus, the Hatfield Marine Science Center in Newport isn't a place where you can get your degree, but rather where a lot of our students will engage in research opportunities or be taking courses. Especially if you're pursuing any of like the ocean sciences, so oceanography, marine biology, things like that, you would likely end up at Hatfield, whether that be doing research or taking a class for your major. But speaking of research, we are Oregon's top research university. Within the last fiscal year, we received over $483 million in research funding. We're also one of only 3 institutions in the United States that have all 4 federal grant designations, so that's sun, sea, land, and space grants. Basically, what all of that jargon means to you is that you're just going to have access to a lot of those practical experiences that will prepare you for time beyond your time at OSU. So whether that be through research or an internship or study abroad, we have really robust programs in all of those different areas, and you have access to those things as early as your first year if it's something that you're interested in. Now we're going to turn to the inside and talk a little bit about our two campus locations, more so in terms of the student life that you're going to find, because they're not only different in terms of geographic location in the state, but they also have very different student life experiences. In Corvallis, this is the larger of the two campuses that we have, so about 28,000 undergraduate students here, so in terms of size, considered more of a large institution. This is where you're definitely going to find that more traditional college experience. We have here 400 clubs and organizations. Those vary from different types, more academic-based clubs, maybe religious-based clubs. We have things that are like special interests, so people that really like a certain thing, and they all get together and do whatever they do to bond over that certain interest. If there isn't a club that you find that you like, it's also super simple to start your own. All you need is 2 peers and an advisor to head the club and start a club with your own interests. We also are an NCAA Division I university, so if you're someone that's interested in playing sport or just really likes to go to sporting events, that's definitely a possibility on this campus as well. We also have a plethora of different club sports and intramural sports as well, so that's another way to get involved in athletics if you're not really going for that D1 level. We also do have 7 different cultural centers on this campus as well. That's a really great way for our students to establish a home away from home. All of those cultural centers serve a different demographic of students. However, you don't have to identify with that group to utilize their spaces, so they all have different buildings on our campus, and they're welcome to anyone. Anyone can go in there and utilize their space to study or use their kitchenette areas that they have, whatever that may be. A lot of them also put on events throughout the year, which are open for everyone, but just a great way to not only find people that identify with similar backgrounds as you, but to meet other people from different backgrounds and ultimately to celebrate all of the different students that we have on our campus. Then, of course, there's Greek life opportunities on this campus as well. And for living on campus, we do, for the most part, require our first-year students to live on campus their first year. We do have 16 different resident halls for students to choose from. Some of those are going to be living learning communities or special interest communities, so maybe based off of like the major that you're part of, we have several resident halls for college engineering. We have one for honors college students, one for college of business, and then we also have like special interest communities as well. So like a floor for ROTC. We used to have one for women in STEM. I believe that's still an active thing. But just things like that, really great way to like find community in your living situations as well. Really by no means required if you meet those criteria. They're just there if you want to take advantage of them. And then alternatively, we have OSU Cascade, which is again over in Bend, Oregon. This is a smaller campus, so they only have about 1,300 students. So that's a big appeal for this campus is students that want to be part of like the OSU big school brand or name, but they want that more like small school vibe. Find that over here, smaller class sizes, more one-on-one interactions with faculty and staff, things like that. They don't have any of the NCAA D1 sports here, so these students would have to typically buy a ticket and then make the drive over to Corvallis versus on Corvallis campus. Those fees are all included in your student fees. But that's definitely something that they're able to do. They do still have intramural sports and club sports here, so definitely a very vibrant student life, but you're not going to find those traditional the sporting events and the Greek life opportunities that these students are really wanting to be outside, take advantage of the natural landscapes that they have, go outdoors, show up to class in their gear after going snowboarding in the morning. So just a little bit of a difference in terms of the student experience and what the students are looking for in a college experience. They do also require their first-year students to live on campus their first year, and they currently have one resident hall to house their students. Either way, you are an OSU student no matter which campus you attend. Your diploma doesn't differentiate between OSU Cascades or Corvallis, it just says OSU University. So really just more so about what type of campus experience is best fit for you. Any questions about student life or location? Now we're going to turn to the big orange block on the inside and talk a little bit about our academic programs and majors. In general, we have over 200 academic programs. Those range from various different majors, minors, and options. On this page specifically, we have things organized by academic theme. So that's a really good way to see what programs might align with an area of interest that you have. In general, engineering and computer science is our largest academic college, but we also have notable programs in things like oceanography, marine biology, forestry, agricultural sciences, but 200 programs, there's a little bit of everything for everyone. Psychology is also really popular. Business programs are really popular as well. But if you're someone that doesn't know what you want to do, we do have pathways for that as well. For a University Exploratory Studies program, that's basically for anyone that either doesn't know what they want to do, or maybe you have a lot of different things in mind, you don't really know how to narrow it down, or what's going to be suited for you. You can be in this program and have access to academic advisors that can help you explore different disciplines, take classes in different areas, and ultimately, hopefully by the end of your first year, decide on the actual major. So that's a really neat thing to take advantage of if you're someone that doesn't really know what they want to do. I'd also like to point out the little numbering system here on the bottom. This will tell you which majors are offered at which campus. So not only are our campuses different in terms of location and kind of like the student life that you're going to find, but not all the programs are the same at both campuses. So OSU Cascades currently has about 23 majors on their campus, so you just want to be aware that if you are considering either of our campus locations, that not all programs are offered at each location. So you just want to make sure that before you get too committed to a major or a campus, that you understand that your program might only be offered at one of the other. Another tool that we have available that you can utilize to do further exploration for our academic programs is our Find Your Major tool on our website. You can just type it into Google for State University Find Your Major, and that will give you a more interactive version of this. So you can scroll through all the different programs that we have, read about different options that are available within different majors, read about the classes that you'd be taking, and other things like that. So that's a really good tool for further exploration for different academic programs. We also do have a lot of pre-professional programs as well. So if you're someone that's interested in like pre-vet, pre-med, pre-veterinary, pre-physical therapy, optometry, dentistry, all those things we have pathways for as well. And then lastly, touch a little bit on our Honors College. The Honors College is something that you have access to as a student at either our Corvallis or our OSU Cascades campus. It does require you to apply to the Honors College and be admitted, but it is something that you do have access to, and there are a lot of unique benefits for being an Honors College student. So if you're interested in that, definitely look into what opportunities that can provide for you. Any questions about majors or programs for anyone? Okay. Move to the other side and talk more so about our admissions requirements and the process that we're going to be utilizing to review you for admission. In general, we utilize what is called a holistic application review. So that just means that we're looking at our applicants beyond what they grade in terms of academic capability. So although we of course want to make sure you're going to be successful on our campus, we also want to know what different skills and interests and abilities that you have that you would be contributing to our campus should we admit you. So in general, I like to group everything into two main groups. The first one is going to be all of the content on your application. That's essentially all of your academic information. So the transcript that you are required to submit, the grades on your transcript, your GPA. Although we don't have a minimum GPA to apply, your GPA is still taken into consideration in context of the other pieces on your application. Looking at your rigorous coursework, so that just means how well have you been engaging with more rigorous classes like AP, IB, honors, dual credit. That, of course, is taken into consideration with what you have access to at your school. So we'll be able to compare your school's curriculum with what you've actually been taking advantage of in order to make that assessment. And we'll also be looking at your academic performance or your grade trend. So that just means, what does your grades look like over the time that you've been in high school? Have you maintained relatively positive grades? Maybe you didn't start so great, but now you're doing really good, or vice versa. Maybe you started really good, but now you're doing not so great. So we'll also take your trend into consideration too. For test scores, we are test optional, so it's not required to submit an SAT or ACT. However, if you would like to, you're more than welcome to do so. We won't ever utilize those scores negatively against you, so if you do have them sent to us and they're not so great or they're not going to help your situation, we just won't use them. But if you do take them and score really well on them, we will definitely take those into consideration if it's going to help the severe situation. And then to help supplement all the information, we have the more contextual pieces, which are pretty much the written pieces of the application, which will include the one required essay. You can apply to OSU either on the Common App or just through our website. Regardless of which route you take, it's the same prompts. So typically there's 7 to choose from. Just choose one and respond to that. It's like a 650 word max, so not too long in terms of having to write an essay. And we have an optional personal statement, and that is a blank space for you to tell us anything else that you want us to know. You can use that for literally anything. It's not limited to certain topics or anything like that. I always tell students to take advantage of it. For example, if you do have any discrepancies in your academic history for maybe a low grade or maybe 1 year where your academic performance wasn't so great, that's your space where you can tell us more, provide your explanation, whatever that might be. That's just one example of how you can use it. But if you feel like you need that space to tell us anything extra, just use it. I will say it definitely does help us make more informed decisions when we have as much context as possible. So definitely take advantage of that space to provide that extra information if you feel like it's applicable to you. And then we'll also have the activities list, and that is required for everyone. And that's your space to tell us about your involvement outside of school, essentially. So maybe different clubs and organizations you've been part of, a job that you might have or have had, leadership, volunteer opportunities, all the things that you've been involved in. That's your space to tell us. No matter how small you think it is, just put on your activities list. We like to, see everything, so don't think that something is too minute or not important enough to put on there. We encourage you to just put it all. It's not going to hurt to have too many things on there, but you definitely do want to make sure that you're spending quality time thinking about your involvement and making sure you have a good solid list of activities. Any questions? All right. And then on top of all of those pieces, we'll be looking for a certain amount of years in all so that includes 3 years in math, social studies, and science, and 2 years in the same foreign language, all passed with a C-. We do also have math requirements for students that are potentially pursuing or interested in pursuing engineering.